Young Homer and his friends are terrorized by the mysterious disappearance of some kids. A group of best friends will investigate what happened and face their biggest fears, so get comfortable because this is... Just starting off, we're taken 27 years into the past. Little Barney goes out to play with his boat after finishing his milk.
Barney, did you finish your milk? Yes, Ma.
He loves being in the rain until his boat gets swept into a drain. There, he encounters Crusto, who introduces himself as the funniest clown in the world. Barney tells him that if he has to introduce himself as the funniest clown in the world, it's because he isn't.
People who have to tell you they're funny usually aren't.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. He asks him to give back his boat and stop bothering him. Crusto responds that Barney should just come closer and take it, but then some Hugafangs come out, and basically F for little Barney. Then we move on to a boy named Homer who is riding his bike around town. It turns out he's putting up missing person notes looking for Barney, but we see that a lot of kids are disappearing. He hears a woman saying that her son didn't come home, and that makes her happy. One less mouth to feed.
Kids still missing. They disappear so fast.
Homer, worried, hurries on his bike, but falls into a trap set by the bullies, who are Skinner the inspector, the music teacher, and they're very wild. In that moment, Homer sees the evil clown, which scares him a lot, and he manages to escape. The other thugs chase him in the worst possible way.
Go after him!
And he finds himself with no way out. Luckily, some other kids help him out.
Step away from the whimpering coward.
They have a big fight, but since they're losing, they ask Marge for help. As she's a great thrower, she hits a sick headshot and scares the big girls away. Homer thanks her and says he's seen them before, that they're the kids from school. They introduce themselves as the comic book guy. Moe, who here they call him Tomboy, and the one black kid in all Maine. They call themselves the Losers Club. They invite him to their hideout, but first...
FYI, new guy, I called dibs on Marge in the second grade.
The comic book guy tells Homer that Marge is taken, so he should find his own girl. Once inside, we see they have everything. At this moment, Homer tells them he saw a wicked clown. Marge says she saw it too when she was in the bathroom painting her nails, although she was actually removing her mustache. Suddenly, the water stopped flowing, and the clown appeared, flooding the bathroom. Her sisters came in to make fun of her, and she says the clown knew her biggest fear was being underwater. Moe says he also saw the clown once, while he was playing. It approached him like a puppet, telling him it would now be his father.
I went on a date with your mother last night.
And if he didn't believe it, he should ask his mother, which made him very sad. Carl says he was reading in his room when the clown appeared to kiss him. The comic book guy says he saw it too, but stops talking there. Homer mentions that this clown must have taken all the missing kids. Marge tells them that they will have to investigate, so they head to the clown's archives. Everyone starts reading there. Homer writes a poem for Marge, telling her that her bravery is amazing and that he is crazy about her. He signs it as her secret admirer, but Marge interrupts him, saying she has found something. It turns out that the clown has always been in Springfield. He had a show called The Hour of Krusty the Clown, and Homer shows photos of Crusto from different periods in history as the protagonist of his comedy show, despite never actually being funny. For some strange reason, they know he comes back every 27 years. Suddenly he comes out of the screen. Luckily he gets stuck, like he was a stepmom in an adult film. However, he grabs the comic book guy and says he's going to eat him.
I don't feel guilty when I eat a fat kid.
Marge has some scissors, and Homer uses them to puncture his face, but instead of stopping him, it makes him bigger and much stronger. However, Marge disconnects the TV, and the problem is solved.
I don't want to die and be buried in a kid coffin.
Moe is very scared and says he never wants to see that horrible clown again. Marge tells him to relax, that if they could hurt him, it means they can send him to heaven. They quickly go to the hideout to arm themselves and fight. They take their stuff, but the comic book guy sees the letter Homer wrote. That makes him very angry. Meanwhile, we go to Crusto's home, who is affiliated with Fox. Upon entering a mysterious box of free candies, Homer, being Homer, goes for it. But the horrible clown comes out from behind the box and they start attacking him. The bad part is that it does not hurt him at all. He says he is totally invincible and that no one can do anything to him, but he trips over some marbles. Immediately, many unexpected and goofy accidents start happening to him, until, after several minutes, he falls to the ground. The kids laugh, which excites the clown, since, in all his years of life, he had never heard the beautiful and honest sound of laughter. So he quickly starts performing all of his jokes. The kids laugh even more, and ask him to eat some firecrackers as a great joke. He agrees, but something strange happens. Little by little, he starts transforming.
No, you tricked me!
He tells them they are cheater losers and will pay for this, and then he leaves. The kids are happy with their victory. That afternoon, they promise that if the clown comes back in 27 years, they will join forces again to defeat him, no matter where they are, and they all agree. Then they jump into the water to swim. At that moment, Marge kisses the comic book guy and tells him she loved the letter he wrote and asks him to kiss her for the rest of the summer.
Kiss me for the rest of the summer.
This makes Homer very sad, as he says he lost the love of his life and she will never love him again.
I think mine just ended.
Truly, one of the saddest moments in history. We move 27 years into the future, and the bullies stop at the cake shop to mock the worker, but someone mysteriously hits an insane headshot that leaves Jumbo with no face. Of course, this mysterious one being Crusto. Meanwhile, in the tavern, Doe's Lenny goes out with his best friend Hans Moleman and the waiter, who is Homer. On the news, he learns that the town's delinquent children have gone to heaven in a strange and very funny way. At that moment, the bartender realizes that 27 years have passed. So the clown has returned, and the losers must reunite. He wonders what happened to his friends, and if they are losers like him. It turns out that Mo is a star and specializes in singing with his puppet. At the end of the show, he is informed that he received a message from his hometown about some childhood pact. Carl is about to travel to the moon, but his pact is much more important, so he gets off. He then becomes excited upon hearing Homer's voice. It turns out that he is now the director of a very successful company. Homer responds that he is doing very well, and they both want to get rid of Krusty. We see that he has a couple of children. Bart, a very intelligent boy who likes music but is quite annoying, and Lisa, a rebel who likes to make a lot of jokes and is everyone's favourite. Bart asks what's next, but his father replies that he's a loser they met at his old home and they'll never go back there. At night, Marge reproaches him, saying they made a promise that they have to go back to finish off the clown, showing him the poem that unified their love. The comic book guy tells her that they are adults now and it's better to stay and take care of their kids. But then Marge responds that he is cowardly, and it turns out it's the crazy clown heading towards Bart. It was all a nightmare. He tells Marge that he saw the clown, but she has already left, leaving a letter saying she went to meet with her friends. In the next scene, we see the losers still together after 27 years. They all start saying that they have to fight the clown, but they are scared. Marge comments that when she needs courage, she reads the poem the comic book guy wrote when they were young, and thanks to that letter, she fell in love with him. Homer says she must know something very important about that letter. But at that moment, their kids arrive, having come with their father to return home. Marge asks the kids to go to the car because she needs to yell at their dad. The bad thing is that when they leave, Lisa takes her brother for a walk around the neighbourhood. They both end up watching TV. Then the clown calls them all, saying he has a new show they must see before they leave. They call for help, and suddenly their phones explode. Homer tells them to relax and save the kids because now it's personal. They quickly head to their old establishment. Carl says it smells like failure, and to be alert because the clown must be nearby. They find the kids, and Marge runs towards them, but Crusto appears, welcoming them and making the souls of the lost kids laugh at him, which gives him a lot of power. Homer tells him that he is not afraid of him, that they are all successful now. Carl is from NASA, Marge is a businesswoman, and he is the most famous virgin in the world, and he no longer has power over them, having overcome their childhood fears. The clown responds that there's something worse for adults, and that is anxiety. Suddenly, all these problems start surfacing. For Marge, many debts. For Homer, what scares older adults, the prostate exam with a rather long finger. For Moe, an unrecognized son with his same ugly face, driving them crazy. The clown tells the comic book guy that he is the worst of all and will leave him when he finds out that he only put his name on the poem that won her heart. He begs him not to, but Marge hears and says her whole life has been a lie. Seeing the comic book guy fall gives the clown more power. Bart says that it seems like he gets his powers from his audience, so they decide to destroy the sign. Homer takes a rock and gives it to Marge, telling her that only she can do it and save everyone like when she saved Homer from the bullies back when they were kids. As he recites the poem he wrote for her, adding that he is still crazy about her, she becomes more motivated to throw it. The clown goes after Marge, but just when he was going to eat her, the comic book guy sacrifices his life so that she can take the opportunity to destroy the sign, thus the kids are freed, and they all go to heaven to enjoy God's love, which makes the clown sad. He starts to writhe so badly that everyone has to cover their eyes to avoid seeing him until he finally disappears. The victory is theirs. The only bad thing is that Jeff, the comic book guy, went to heaven. The good thing is that Marge stayed with Homer, who now hangs out with his friends and their new kids. A great story that tells us an alternate future. Like the time Lisa decides not to go to college, declining her many great admission offers and completely devastating Marge in the process. If you want to see what happens in this episode, click this video next. But before, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe.